Thank you. You may be seated. Counsel.
Justice Moseneke, we'd like to call Mr. Christian Kondwane.
Can we clear up that table for the witness, please, Obati?
Is the seating any better for you, Justice Moseneke?
It is better now. Thank you. Which language do you want to use?
I think I can challenge English.
You'll do it in English.
Yes.
Would you then put your full names on record, please?
My full names is Christian Ngondwana. Ngondwana from Eastern Cape.
You haven't done badly, Counsel. You haven't done badly at all. Mr. Ngondwana.
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 Yes.
Ngondwana.
Ndwana. Small brain. Small brain. Very small brain.
I see.
Justice.
Will you please do swear that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, nothing but the truth? And if so, raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Counsel.
Thank you, Justice. Sabona Bab.
Away.
Can you tell us what your relationship is with Vuyo Aaron Kondwana?
My relationship, ladies and gentlemen, with Vuyo Aaron Ngondwana, he is my firstborn child.
And was Vuyo at Life Esidimeni?
Come again, Councillor.
Was Vuyo at Life Esidimeni? Was he a patient at Life Esidimeni?
Yes, Councillor.
And how long was he there?
Vuyo was admitted in Life Esidimeni in 1992. I cannot record the month in which he was admitted, but a social worker called me at that time to say they have found a place in which they can place my son since he was unable to do things for himself. So that was 1992, around October, November.
1992. So he was at Life Esidimeni for many years.
Precisely, Councillor.
And what was his Vuyo's mental condition?
Starting from the beginning, at the time in which my son was born, it was a bit difficult. She was admitted at the Leratong Hospital on the 11th of October, 1985. It was not an easy delivery for her.
Was it a son or a daughter?
He was a son.
The son, yeah.
He was a he.
Okay.
Yes.
So, the she that the witness is referring to is his wife.
I see.
Should I proceed?
Yes, please.
Proceed.
Because of her difficulties in delivering the baby, it was found that something went out before my son could be delivered, which was called an umbilical cord. Now, I didn't understand what this umbilical cord was meaning until such time that I was told that It was a cube that makes the baby to inhale inside the mother. It was just so unfortunate that it came out first, which resulted from my wife being unable to can give birth to my baby. In that regard, methods to bring my son or my baby on earth was nothing other than a cesarean section. So on the 11th October, which of course, in any essence, my wife likes me to mention the time in which he was born, which is 11 o'clock a.m.
Which year was that?
1985,
Thank you.
Justice.
And goes-
So my son was born on the 11th of October, 1985, at 11 o'clock in the morning. Something at that very same time, they detected something. He had jaundice in his eyes. Now, he had pinkish eyes, in which it resulted him being placed in what we call an incubator for 3 weeks. So, in other words, my son was placed in an incubator for 3 weeks, pending the recovery of his eyes. After that, my son was discharged from hospital. I hired a car to go and fetch my son because we had a house at that time. No, I didn't have a house. I was still staying at home. I went to collect my son at the hospital. But when we were with the child, something strange happened to my son. Even if he was not, when you're sleeping, there are people who are snoring. There are people when going to bed, they snore. So my son was like somebody who was sleeping. So he was snoring from on. That means I don't know how long it took for my son to keep on snoring, breathing like, of course. We took him back to the hospital that very same year. From that moment on, because there was no doctor for those nostrils to check, what's happening inside his nostrils. Perhaps something is in, we don't know. So my son was referred to Coronation Hospital in Westbury, Johannesburg. That is where they detected to say, because of that oxygen, that umbilical cord, he will never gonna make it. That is what the doctor said at Coronation Hospital in Westbury, Johannesburg. We took back our son. From that moment on, he was undertaking treatments like every child at his age. 1986, 1987, 1988, 1989. At that time, I said to my wife, you know what? We had a firstborn child. He passed on. He was a stillborn. Now we are getting a disabled child. I don't need kids anymore. I'm enough with this one. If I am going to continue bearing kids of this nature, I'd rather stop giving birth. That's what I said to my wife. She complained. We started again. We got another baby boy, fresh. In 1990, the 5th of March, 1990, we got another baby boy. That was my second baby boy. I said, no, we stop here. We don't take it anymore. So that was it. But as time goes on, in 1992, I think it was the time where I was 1 year old with Standard Bank of South Africa, head office in Simon Street. I was working there, of course. I went on leave in 1992. I was on leave from 1991. I got a call from a social worker. At that time, it's a white lady. She said to us, she's got a place for us where we can keep our baby. Because she was heavy this time, my wife couldn't put him back to her back. He was a bit heavy. My wife couldn't go anywhere. She was looking after the child. Whatever she wanted to do for herself, she cannot, unfortunately. But we had to look for that place. Could
Vuyo walk on his own?
He was unable to respond to that justice. He was unable to feed himself. He was unable to walk. He was unable to sit on his buttocks. He was just a child. He was unable to do anything for himself to respond to that justice. So, in October, November in 1992, I don't remember or I don't recall the date, I received a call to say a place for my son has been found. We are coming to take your son to a place of safety so that your wife can be able to move around and, do what she has to do. And a week later, that lady, she came with a car. They took my son to Meerside Hospital. It's a life care center also, life Esidimeni in there, at Meerside. That's where my son was placed, to pause on that.
And then, when did he go to Life Esidimeni in?
Because of the situation where that place was placed, it was in the bush. It was not easy for a woman to walk alone in that area. Even now, if justice doesn't mind, he can also go there and see that no woman can walk there alone. So I had to accompany my wife all these years to see the baby. So it was a bush or a forest. I don't know whether I can say a bush or a forest. And it's between Randfontein and Krugersdorp.
Between Randfontein and
Yes, because when we have to travel by train, I don't have a car, unfortunately. I'm boarding my train. I get a taxi to Lepas Play Station. That is from Kagiso 1 to Lepas Play Station. Then from Lepas Play Station, it would be Lepas Play, it would be Windsor Mine, it would be Krugersdorp, it would be Westrand, it would be Meerside. I think it's six station or 5 station for me to arrive there. So we walk, in that field. No one is in there, You don't know what is it that is going to happen while you're walking that path to see your son.
Did you have to carry the baby?
No,
the station
to visit.
To
visit justice. Yes. So we were visiting almost every weekend because I was working at that time.
And then he was moved from Millsite.
A reason was given to us as a result of the shutting down of that area, that it was a mining complex before it could be converted into a place of safety. Because it was not only patients like in normal hospitals, it was a place like Sterfontein where my son was placed.
But then he was, is it right that he was moved to Life Esidimeni, a different facility, the one in Roodepoort?
Now, after Meerside shut down, as a result of the reason they gave us, that it was in a mining dump, so it was, when it's windy, now you'll understand the sand would cover up the complex, so it makes everybody difficult to inhale. Yes. So he was moved to an area called Robertson in Roodepoort.
Was he moved to?
Robert Beale in Roodepoort. I think
But
it's
to which
almost-
facility?
also a life care center. Also, it's the same center.
And from there, was he moved again?
And then from that moment on, he grew up under Baneng because of his age. He was placed under Baneng. Now, as he grew up, they said, no. We cannot keep your son together with Baneng because now he's a grown-up man. We have to move him to adult institutions, but the same life as Esidimeni.
Yes.
So, my son, I'm just told. I was never asked whether do I approve or I do not. They took my son to Jamestown, also a life care, Esidimeni, what. My son was taken there without me being informed. When we pay a visit, my wife and I, to go and see the son, they said, no, he has been moved. He's no longer here. He's in Jamestown. I said, this is ridiculous. You cannot do that to me. I started shouting. I said, you cannot do that to me. You could have called me and said to me, my son is no longer with you. He's in Jamestown.
When was this? When did that happen?
Unfortunately, ma'am, I couldn't take any date. But he was a bit older at that time. But
How
I
old
cannot
was he?
recall. I cannot recall, ma'am. But he was over 21. He was over 21. So I said, I want my son back in this institution. I cannot go to Jamestown. It's very far for me. My company has shut down. I'm not working anymore because I was working for Everett Group in Chamdo. My company has shut down. I'm not working anymore. So I find it difficult for me to travel by transport. I want my son back to this institution. Now they said to me, where do you stay? I said, no, I stay in Motlhakeng, Randfontein, because I already moved in Kagiso as a result that I was unable to pay my bond. Unfortunately, I had a bond house. So because I was unable to pay it, I had to sell my house to move further because there's life every day. That's what I believe in. So I say I stay in Randfontein, Motlhakeng, Extension 5, that's where I stay. Now, this place said, no, man, there is a place in Randfontein. Make an application that your son be transferred to Randfontein. I precisely did that. I applied. Within a week, my son was placed in Randfontein.
And you don't recall which year that was? Do you recall which year?
No, I don't recall, ma'am.
So how long was he in Randfontein?
From Randfontein, we were able to check him weekly, sometimes fortnightly.
But how long did he stay at the Randfontein facility?
It's many years, ma'am. It's many years. Like I said, I do not recall the number of years that he spent in Randfontein.
Okay. But you visited him regularly?
Yes, ma'am, because he was nearer to me, because Randfontein was currently my hometown.
In front of you, there should be photographs. These are photographs that you provided to us.
Yes.
I think it's underneath, not in, underneath your folder, underneath your, yes. There are a series of photographs, Justice Masaneke, marked ELAH29A to ELAH29F.
I have them, thank you.
If we could
Yes.
begin at ELAH29A. When was this photograph taken?
Because every year during Christmas times, we went to the Life Esidimeni to to ask for our son to come home for holidays. So at this time, every year, like I said, we usually go out. You know, we have an outing together with him. In other words, we cannot go, we cannot take outings without his presence. He's always there with us. I had a car, it's called a Nissan Skyline 2-liter GL.
So when was this photograph taken?
This photograph was taken around 2016. That was 2014, the 16th of December.
And where was this?
This is in Coronation Park in Krugersdorp.
Is this a photograph of your family?
Yes, yes.
Is Vuyo in this photograph?
He's wearing yellow with a white hat in front of the meat, of course, because he likes meat. Yes.
29B is a photograph of Vuyo, and is that your Vuyo's mother next to him?
This is my lovely wife.
It's your lovely wife.
It's my lovely wife.
When was this photograph taken?
It was taken. It was taken. In last year. It was taken around last year.
It says
2016.
It says on the photograph that there's a note that says August 2015.
2015. Okay.
But you should confirm whether that is correct.
Yes.
Did you take the photograph?
Yes.
Where
Yes.
did you take this photograph?
It's in Randfontein. That's where the photograph is taken.
Okay.
Yes.
And 29C, there's another photograph of Vuyo with your lovely wife. Do you know when this was taken?
Yes, it's also in Randfontein, Esidimeni.
Did you take this photograph?
Yes, I did.
29D, is that taken at the same time?
It's also, my wife took us. Also we're using a cell phone.
Yes.
We're using a cell phone. These photos are from a cell phone.
I see.
Yes.
So that was also November 2015.
Yes, ma'am.
Then the next photograph, 29E,
What about 29D?
we've just done 29D,
You've just
Justice.
done 29D.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
He's a good-looking guy.
No, he doesn't look like me. I'm too ugly. Yes. It's in the same area in Randfontein.
In Randfontein.
Yes, that's where he is.
But now, if we go to 29E, was this taken in July 2016
Yes, in Cullinan, ma'am.
at Cullinan?
Yes.
If we could go to 29F. It's dated
Now-
30th July 2016.
Now, this is the photo that has made me feel like crying. Because if you look at all these photos, looking at the condition in which my son looks like, here he's very pitch. This is not his color, lost weight. I never believed, I even screamed. I said, have you brought me the real Vuyo Ngondwana, or because my son is not of this color? They said, no, he is Aaron Ngondwana. I said, but he's light in skin. He's got a light skin. He's not black like me. Why my son is so black? Now, if you are to look at this photograph, in Randfontein, you look at this photograph in Randfontein, you look at this photograph in Life Esidimeni, they don't correspond. I said, why my son is black? Why is so pitch black? It is me that is black, not my son. My son is light in skin. Why is he so black? They told me about environmental conditions in Cullinan. I said, where is Cullinan? They said, Cullinan, is it in Mpumalanga or is it in Gauteng? They said, no, Cullinan is in Gauteng. But there is no way in hardly a month my son has changed to this type of color. This is outrageous and uncalled for. When I come back, I want to see my son back to his light skin color, because he's got a light skin color more than his mother. My son is light like this. This is how he looks like. This is how my last son looks like. Not black color like me.
Well,
not like me.
Yeah.
He's a black man, but he's not as black as me. I want my son, when I come back, I want to see the conditions of my son back to where it used to be.
So, you're talking about when he was at Cullinan.
When he was at Cullinan.
When was he moved from Life Esidimeni to Cullinan?
He was moved around June 2017, 2016. He was removed in June 2016.
Did you know that he would be moved?
We were told in 2015, in December, that the facility or the institution over there has got no money to can maintain our son or the patients over there. So they will be moved to the NGOs. That's what we were told in December 2015.
Who told you that?
The directors, and I cannot recall those people, but the board was there to inform us that Life Esidimeni is shutting down.
That was in December 2015?
Yes, ma'am.
And then before Vuyo was moved from Life Esidimeni to Cullinan, were you told that he is now being moved to Cullinan?
They told us that they had moved him to Takalani in Soweto.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that very same Saturday in which we were told, we went to Takalani in Soweto near Parakwanov. My son wasn't there. So we went back during the course of the week to Life Esidimeni Randfontein to say, we don't know where our son is. They say he's not there. Can you tell us where our son is? Now, the receptionist was there then. He said, no, I don't know nothing. I'm a new member in this institution. You can see we are dealing here with drug people. We have no mentally handicapped people. But here is the number. Call these people to find out the whereabouts of your son, which I called. Right. I called during the course of the week. When I called during the course of the week, they told me that Vuyo was in Cullinan, and they're definitely sure that, because they're already told that Vuyo is in Cullinan. And then to confirm that, we went to Cullinan on the 2nd of July, because they were removed in June. On the 2nd of July, 2016, we went to Cullinan to confirm as to whether my son was there.
And you did find him there?
Yes, I did find him in this color.
Right.
Yes, in that color.
And then...
Well, I've been looking at the pictures. Your son looked very good. He looked healthy. Forget the color. Look how thin he is.
Very thin.
Look how sickly he looks.
Yes, he is.
And look how he looks away from you. He doesn't look at you with a smile.
No.
But you worried about the color only.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big contrast. I'm worried. If I were your son, you'd have thrown me out. But you see, when I look at him, the picture I said to you, your son is very good looking. LAH 29D, can you see that? That picture. The picture,
is
the
it
picture
P?
looks like that.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Look at his skin, it's healthy. Can you see that?
In Randfontein, sir.
Besides its color, it's
Yes,
quite
sir.
healthy, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Look at his teeth.
Very.
Can you see his eyes? His teeth are pure white.
In Randfontein.
Yes, and all even. Look at his eyes. Nice, white, big eyes, isn't it? And you go to the last page, you can't see his eyes, you can't see his teeth. He's very, very thin, and he looks very insecure. Do you agree with me?
Yes,
He's looking away, not even towards the camera.
Very shy.
Yes. If I were you, I'd be more worried about his health than his color.
I'll take that as a point of correction,
Yeah.
Justice.
Yes. Very well.
The last time, the 29A is a photograph taken in 2014, in December time. So now he's at Cullinan in 2016. Did you collect Vuyo December 2016 for a home stay?
Yes, Council, I did. Because I'm at home currently facing unemployment. Thanks God, I was able to sell my house before it could be taken by the bank, and be able to buy a site where I can build a structure for my kids for future references. Of course, I thank God for that, for giving me that wisdom.
So how long did you take Vuyo home for in December 2016?
I took him on the 31st of December because of the time they were giving us. They were giving us 15 days to have him.
15.
15 days, yes. So if I were to take Vuyo, say for example, in mid-December, if I take him back in mid-January, then Vuyo is fired. So I have to adhere to rules and regulations of the institution.
So how was he in December 2016 when he was with you?
We never went to a park. He was weak, pale, and he was not well. He was not well. He was not well. These are 20. We never took pictures last year because the time was short. So we spent the 31st of December for the first time since he was taken to Cullinan from Randfontein. So we took him only on the 31st of December. So in other words, he spent 31st and the 1st up until the 15th of January 2017 with us.
And when did you last see Vuyo?
The last time we saw Vuyo was the time when we took him back to Cullinan on the 15th of January 2017.
When did Vuyo pass away?
I received a call on the 7th of February at 08:31. I was told that Vuyo,
2017.
yes, I was told that Vuyo went to bed, active as we know him. He had nothing. He was never sick. He was never this. He was never that. He was healthy, active, But the following day, when he woke up, he was no more. I was cold. I shivered. I was very cold. I shivered. I cried like a baby. I said to this woman, who happens to be a social worker, this is disgusting. It's very disgusting. I don't take a story. My son, you said my son went to bed, actively involved. He was playing, he was doing everything for himself. And you're telling me that the following day, today, my son is dead. I don't take your story. Now, Mr. Norton would like to see you. Come to Cullinan. A neighbor. I made arrangements with a neighbor. My neighbor took me to Cullinan. I paid 500 rands.
500 rand?
Yes.
Transport?
Transport to go to Cullinan. To identify as to whether truly my son is the one that is dead. On my arrival in Cullinan, I met a social worker and a sister.
Before you go on, had you told your wife?
Thank you, Councillor. Before we could go, because I was somewhere in Randfontein because I'm living on peace jobs, I called my son. I called my neighbors because, we have this neighborly good relationship with my neighbors. Because I didn't want to tell my wife directly. Because I don't know what would happen if he hears about this and she's alone at home. Kids are gone out.
Yes.
Because I've got 2 remaining kids now. So I sent my neighbors to say, Vuyo is no more. Please, find a way in which you can say this to my wife. And indeed, Mrs. Musase was one of the ladies accompanied by a friend. They went to my wife to convey this traumatic situation. So when they got there, the neighbors, they said, they start laughing, their friends. Neighbors sometimes, they're friends. So they start chatting, laughing, and said all these kind of conversations of theirs. They said, when was the last time you saw Vuyo? My wife responded by saying, no, Vuyo left in January, on the 15th of January. He was taken back to Cullinan by his father. So, was it on the 15th, the moment you last saw your son? Didn't you go back and see your son in Cullinan? He said, no, because we had financial problems. They started looking at each other. He said, what? We are sorry to tell you, our dear friend, your son is gone. She fell on the ground. She fell on the ground. She cried. Precisely like I was crying where I was. My wife fell on the ground and she cried profusely. When I came home, got off the taxi, I was crying inside the taxi and off the taxi until I reached my home, crying. I said to my wife, have you heard the bad news? She said, I've heard the bad news. She's white in color, she's light in color. She was pink, she was no longer like this now. She was pink. She was fuming because the time when my son had nothing. I'm getting a story that the previous day my son was well. And the current day my son is dead. That is where I organized a transport to my neighbors as well. We went to Cullinan and we got there, I think, 1,400 hours. And when we got there, 1,400 hours, we were met by this social worker and a sister.
On the same day, the 7th of February?
Yes, Justice.
2017, yes.
Yes, Justice. So They took me to the office. I was with my second-born son. I was with my son, my second-born son. We got into the office. They related this news to me. I said, there's nothing I can do. My son is finished. You killed him. You killed him. Because he was active yesterday, he's dead the following day. My son had nothing. You killed my son. It's fine. I want to take my son. I want to bury my son. They said, no, we are sorry for us to have told you about this. Go and organize an undertaker to come and pick up the son. So I got into the car. We went back.
Well, before you get into the car.
No, before we got into the car, I said, please, with due respect, even though I do not have respect for you anymore, I want to see my son. Where is he? They said, no, the son is in the mortuary. I said, okay, no, that's fine. Take me to the mortuary. I want to see my son in the mortuary. We went to the mortuary, my son and I, accompanied by other people. When you go to the mortuary, a mortuary is like a small room.
Is it on the premises of Cullinan? Is it on the same?
Yes, Councillor. The mortuary is like a small room. We got in there in the mortuary. When we got into the mortuary, it was hot inside the mortuary. You know, mortuaries don't get cold. Hot. They're always cold. But that one, it was hot. What I noticed, I went to the fridge thermostat. The fridge thermostat was not stable. It was doing like this. It was doing like this. To me, indicates that something is not right with this fridge. I said, open up the fridge. They open up the fridge. There, my son, in a body bag. I said, no, this is my son. With a cotton wool placed in his mouth, into his mouth, bleeding. But now, it looks like that bleeding was stopped by the cotton wool stuck into his mouth. I said, you have elaborated to me to say my son died as a result of natural death. That's what the doctor tells you. They said, yes. But under no circumstances have I ever heard that if somebody died of a natural cause, bleeds. Why this one is bleeding? No, perhaps there are complications inside your stomach. I said, what complications? You said my son died as a result of natural causes. And you said it's complication when he's bleeding. Natural causes, you don't bleed. You go home clean. You go home clean. They said, no, we don't know. But what the doctor told us, he said he died of natural causes. I said, okay, take him back. Went out, get into the car, in an intention of going to organize an undertaker.
Yes.
Which part, excuse me, which part of Cullinan was your son kept?
At Cullinan Center, Justice, we were not shown. We were not shown. We are just taken into the reception only. That's where we ended up. We don't go to the wards and see the place in which our kids are being placed.
Was it in the main Cullinan Rehabilitation Center, or was it in the place that came to be known as Siabadinga?
No, it was a Cullinan Rehabilitation Center, sir.
And this would be, it was already January 2017. No, okay. Very well.
Yes. So
you went to the undertaker?
I went back home. I went to the undertaker that very same day. We arranged. Then the undertaker said, okay, we are going to collect your son tomorrow morning, which is the 8th of February 2017. So the following day, we had already told people, the neighborhood and my parents from Eastern Cape, in Kagiso, where I grew up, to say, Obuyo is no more. Because it's already late now, it's Tuesday. We are going to bury my son the following week, which was the 17th of February. So announcements went on and on and on and on, just like that. And on the 8th, I came to Cullinan with the undertaker. It was a driver, his assistant, and I, when we come to Cullinan. When we got to Cullinan, they called us into the office again. They say, Mr. Ngondwana, unfortunately, we cannot give you your son. Reason being, he has to undertake a post-mortem. I said, another error again. You killed my son this time, and the second time you said I must go in and organize an undertaker. The third time you're telling me, after I have organized, do you know how much am I going to spend? As an unemployed father of 3, you're telling me, you could have told me that yesterday that you would be undertaking a post-mortem. You're telling me now that I've already organized an undertaker. How dare you do such a thing? I said, look, my sister, forget it, no post-mortem. I am refusing post-mortem. I want my son even if my son could undertake a post-mortem, he will never come back on earth again. My son is finished. I want my son. No, I can't give you your son. But I said, you're going to give me my son. You're going to give me my son. They started calling a professor somewhere in the Department of Health in Pretoria. That lady, I don't know what is it that she said to them. And they had already called a forensic from Bronkhorstspruit to have my son collected so that a post-mortem can be undertaken in Bronkhorstspruit. So we are waiting for the forensic here to come and collect the body. And this side, we are waiting for the professor somewhere in Pretoria in the Department of Justice. Now, that guy or that madam in Pretoria, he said, if he's insisting to take his body, he must do it in writing. After he did it in writing, he can take his body. We are not responsible for not making a post-mortem. Because at that time I was a bit confused, and you know what? Yeah. And eventually the forensic came. He came, the forensic from Bronkhorstspruit, he came, and he said, what is the doctor saying as to the cause of death? The forensic pathologist is asking the social worker and the sister there. Now, in response to that, I said, no, he died of a natural cause. But now, what is the problem? Why is it you want to make a post-mortem when the doctor is telling you that he died of a natural cause? What if I have 1,300 bodies to operate? How long is it going to take for me to operate this boy?
So did you sign the paper then to
say
you refuse
the very same pathologist? I asked him to write the message to say I'm refusing a postmortem. So he wrote, and then after he wrote, I signed. The social worker signed. We went to the mortuary. We took the body. It was raining, very, very raining at that time. We opened the fridge. When we opened the fridge, we took out the body. The moment you took out the body, that cotton wool It fell on the ground, and he spit blood. There was blood all over the room. There was blood all over the room. It looks like that cotton wool was the one that has blockaded that blood, Justice. I said, no, wrap him up, take him. I took my son in that rainy day. That was on the 8th. It was raining, Justice. We took him behind the bakkie of an undertaker. We went home.
Open bakkie?
No, it's this undertakers.
Or undertakers?
Yes. We took him to the undertaker. From there, I went home. And then people, the African tradition, people, they come and go. I got visitors from Eastern Cape, Umtata. I've got visitors from East London, Emonti, my relatives. I have to spend, people going in, going out, going in, going out. I spend. Sometimes I get donations. Buy food, I do this, I do that, Justice, all these kind of things. On Sunday of that week, amongst the people who attended, to come and mourn with us, there was a social worker. Amongst those people, there was a social worker who happened to be asking us where did your son die at? We told her that my son died at Cullinan Life Esidimeni. He said, he died at Life Esidimeni in Cullinan. As we said, yes. I said, no. You are not going to bury that boy without a post-mortem. We need the post-mortem. Unfortunately, we insist. I said, even if the post-mortem can be done, it will never bring back my son. I said, no, I insist. Because the government would like to know the cause of death of your son. I elect words. Her name is Viva Sitati. She's a social worker. I would be happy if she can stand. Everybody to see her. She is the lady who insisted on a post-mortem. On the 13th of February, on Monday, she took the matter to the mayor, Mzee Kumalo, in Randfontein. She told the mayor about this issue that has happened in my house. And the mayor also said, I'm going to speak to the undertaker that he must be taken for a post-mortem because we'd like to know the cause of death of your son. So he's going to take that initiative as a mayor to speak with the owner of the undertaker, who is Mr. Diale. Diale. The undertaker is also known as Diale Funeral Parlor. So the mayor spoke to Diale. I think that was on the 14th. So on that very Monday, on Tuesday, he sent his MEC because his schedule was tied up. He sent his MECs.
Who sent his MEC?
The MMC.
MMC.
The MMC.
No
yes.
problem, MMC.
He sent the MMC.
The mayor sent MMC.
Yes.
Member of the mayoral
unfortunately, I do not have a surname. Her name is Gela. G-E-L-A. Gela. He is social development, MMC, social development. And he also sent a clerk. It's a white lady. Her name is Stella Labaskachne. She is the clerk who was coming to take minutes of everything. She also sent the supervisor to Viva Sitati, Mrs. Rachel Mabasa. She's also here. I think she can also stand up. and that is that.
So the post-mortem was conducted.
Right. Then I was called by Mr. Diale on I think it was on the 14th, to say I should accompany February, yes. I should accompany them to Rotiport Government Mortuary for identification. So Diale and one of his assistants, I was accompanied by a lady by his car. So we followed the undertaker, because my son was in a white coffin. He was placed in a white coffin to Rotiport Government Mortuary. On our arrival in Rotiport, everything was done, names taken and everything and so forth and so forth. And there comes a doctor. She came to me. It's an Indian doctor. She said, "Are you the father of the deceased?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, I'm the father." He said, "No, I am the one who is going to do the post-mortem." Her name was, what is her name? It was, she's Dr. Sheila Gina Stewart. Dr. Gina Sheila Stewart. She is the one who said to me, she's the one who is going to do the post-mortem, but she's not going to do it alone, because now it was required by state, so
yes,
we have to do it. We are going to be 3. That's what she told me. So she said to me, if the post-mortem hasn't been done on Thursday, definitely on Friday, I will call you to say the post-mortem is done. You can come and collect the body. So on that Thursday, she never called me. She called me on Friday. Then we went there with the DLF funeral parlor to collect the body.
And in front of you, there should be another exhibit marked ELAH 41. Under the photographs, does just ELAH 41. It's the post-mortem report.
41. Now I've got up to 29F.
The post-mortem report, you don't see it, is it?
Oh, this one, yes. Yes, ma'am.
It is signed by Dr. Shirley Jenner Stewart. Is that the doctor that you're referring to?
Who conducted the post-mortem, yes.
Let me start at the beginning. How did you get the post-mortem report?
How I got the post-mortem report, we were out, my wife and I. We were out, in our schedules. When my wife came back, my last-born son gave this form to my son, to the mother, to say, "There's a guy. He's a policeman. He's the one who brought this." He said, "We must go through."
Had you requested the post-mortem report?
Yes, I did, Councillor. I did request the report, but I wasn't sure that I was going to get it. I was just taking it as if I'm kidding, but I didn't take it seriously that all, because in my mind, I thought we were going to get these things from here or the police or the judge. I never expected to be getting this from that guy.
Do you know which police officer brought it to your home?
He never left any name. Yes, he never left any name.
When did he bring it to your home?
That was after the funeral. I don't know. I don't know whether was it after June or I don't record, ma'am.
Okay. If you can turn on this ELAH 41, the first page says 7 of 9.
First page.
The first page says 7 of 9 for some reason. But if you can turn to the page that's marked page 9 of 9.
Page 9 of 9. Okay.
At the bottom, then the numbers are at the bottom of the page.
Page 9 of 9.
Yeah, so the third page.
Is it the third page? Page 9.
At the top of the page, it says conclusion.
I've got page 9 here.
At the top of the page, does it say conclusion?
What is it? Page 3 of 9.
Yes, so
Page 3 of 9.
yes, if you look at the top of the page, does it say conclusion?
Well, the exhibit promises 9 pages, but it's actually only 6 pages. Is yours perhaps 9?
Page 9 of 9.
I see 7 of 9. I see they've swapped it around.
I got it.
Yes.
I see. I've got 9 of 9, thank you.
Justice Mosneke, does your page say conclusion at the top?
Yes, it does.
And the conclusion reached by the pathologist is that the features are those of aspiration pneumonia. In other words, the analysis led to the conclusion that the cause of death was aspiration pneumonia. Was that explained to you?
No,
No.
no.
Can you turn a few pages in? There's a page in the middle of the bundle that says page 1 of 9. They're just out of order.
Page 1 of 9.
It's headed Gauteng Provincial Government, Health Division, Forensic Pathology Services. And in the fourth paragraph, it confirms the date on which the post-mortem was conducted. 16 February 2017. Do you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
If you turn over the page, there's a statement signed by the pathologist. And there's paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4. And in paragraph 4, there's 4 bullet points. And on the third bullet point, it says, examination of the stomach content reveals a large piece of orange plastic sheeting resembling what could possibly be part of a plastic bag. Do you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Was that explained to you, Mr.
No, ma'am.
And then paragraph 5 says that the cause of death was determined to be aspiration pneumonia. And then finally, if I may ask you to look at page 5 of 9. So if you just turn over.
You say the doctor never told you about the findings on page 2 of 9,
No, Justice.
subparagraph Roman.
I never heard anything
4.
about the cause of death from any doctor, Justice.
When the police officer arrived, did he explain the contents of the post-mortem report to your son?
No, he didn't. All that he wanted, he said, he asked us questions. That's all he asked us. And then after the question had been asked, which he asked me and responded, he wanted to see the Diali funeral parlor. He did not know where the place was. So I said, I know where Dialepal is. I said, it's in the same township. Do you know where it is? I said, no, I can take you there. So I took them to Dialep funeral parlor.
But the police officer that brought the post-mortem report to your house, you were not there at the time. Your son was there.
My son was there, yes. The one who came now for questions was warrant officer, I think, Mulugumme. Yeah, Mulugumme, something like that.
But he wasn't the same police officer that brought the post-mortem
I don't know.
On page 5 of 9, it also has numbered paragraphs. And paragraph 17, this is the report of the pathologist. Justice, if I may just explain
Yes, please go ahead.
contents.
I've seen that. Please ask questions on that.
All these numbered paragraphs are the findings of the pathologist as she examined the body from top to toe. And in paragraph 17, she comes to the stomach. And she notes the stomach is full of dark, slate gray, grainy material with numerous peas and what appears to be part of an orange plastic bag or plastic sheet. It would appear from the post-mortem report that Vuyo had ingested some foreign material, some strange material. I would like to know whether anybody from the police or anybody from the Department of Health has come to speak to you at all about the cause of death, of Vuyo's cause of death.
I'll be delighted if I can say yes. None of them came to my house, except the social workers and MMC only.
Had you heard this before today from anybody?
I just read. I read it. After I received this document, I go through it.
You see, when you look at finding 17 that relates to the stomach, if the doctor were here, I would have asked her the question, what is most probable? Did he probably have a plastic bag with numerous peas in it, which he ingested, plastic and all?
I think he suffocated on that.
Yeah,
as far as
because
I'm
we have
concerned.
evidence of people being so hungry that they would eat
Plastics,
contents and container all at once.
anything to keep the
So-
stomach, yeah.
This is speculative, but if the doctor were here, would say, what on the probabilities do you think, Dr. Stewart, how would the several peas
Be found.
and the plastic be all together in the stomach? I would understand all the time we are told, keep plastic away from,
Rich of children. Rich of
Children.
children, yeah.
and the reason is if they tried to eat something in a plastic, they may very well swallow the contents of the plastic with the container itself. And then of course you would choke and die. But do you know the person to answer that? I think a doctor will probably have to tell us that.
Yes, Justice, I think
Yeah.
so. Also,
And have you found out anything more than what we can see on the post-mortem report?
no, nothing, Doctor. Nothing, Justice.
Kodwa phansi wenza ukuba singazi uba lo mntana ubulalwe yintoni na?
Khawuphinde futhi.
Ndithi phansi wenza ukuba singakwazi uba lo mntana ubulalwe yintoni.
Khanicwethe.
Yeah,
You're correct.
yeah.
Khanicwethe. Yes.
No, ndiyakuva tata. Bakufuneka ndingabetha amagqabantshintshi phana pha.
Kulungile, nanini na.
Andiva.
Nanini na.
No, thank you. I don't know where the interpreter is, sorry. It's one of our official languages I've just used, sorry. And if somebody needs an interpreter, we must find one. I was just saying to him, you almost put us in a position where we never would have known what killed this young person you loved so much. And he says in pure Xhosa, yes, indeed, you are correct. But he's explained his position. It was painful.
Justice.
And your response was an emotional one.
Yes, Justice.
And bufuna into yakho uyoyincwaba ngokwakho.
Justice.
When was Vuyo laid to rest?
I was supposed to lay Vuyo to rest on the 17th of February. Unfortunately, we had to be called, the funeral had to be called off because we had to go to Pretoria Memorial, what is this, Freedom Park or Freedom Square, I don't know, for a memorial reason. So the date was postponed to the 18th. That is the following day. But there was also a request from the council to say we must bury Vuyo during the course of the week so that they also be there as council, government officials and so forth.
And did they attend?
No, we refused. Reason of our refusal to bury Vuyo during the course of the week was that we had already told family members from Eastern Cape, others are nurses, others are, we also have a mayor, we also have police who happen to have requested that they will resume their duties on Monday. So they will come back the very same day because others were flying all the way from Eastern Cape. Yes. So we had to change the date to say to the council, we cannot have that because the family from Eastern Cape, they would like to see when one of the family members is buried. So
you chose to accommodate your family rather than the government officials.
Yes, Councillor.
What was the cost of the funeral? Did you pay for the funeral?
It took my pocket out. It took my pocket out. One, it took my pocket out. Two, it traumatized me and my family. Till today, my wife can't sleep. She has to think. Sometimes he goes to bed with a photo, carrying a photo of his son. We are not happy at home. We've got nothing. Thanks to the government for the transport to come here. We would never be able to make it. Unfortunately, Justice, thank you for that. We are dry. Currently, even in the bank, I've got nothing. I live on handouts. Do not be shocked that I'm wearing a suit and a tie and what. There's hunger down there. There's hunger down there. Our stomachs are not together. That's the response I can give to you, Councillor.
Is there anything you would like to say that you haven't said, and anything you would like to say to the government before you leave the stand?
Councillor, Justice, and the House in general, my heart will never be at peace. My heart will never be at peace with Katani Mahlangu until she comes here and tell us why she had to do this traumatic thing to the citizens of this country. I am a citizen of this country. I'm born and bred in this country. I'll die in this country as a citizen. I will be buried in this country. Katani must come and explain to me why he had to take my son away from Ranton Plain. He was well off. He was fat. take him to CCRC to be killed? I need an explanation to Katani Mahlangu. Number one. Number two, I am not going to feel shame of people who are coming here and spilled crocodile tears of the bad things they did for this country. Crocodile tears is what I do not belong into. Because these NGOs, they did it out of greed. Was it about money? We would never be talking about the word greed today. They were greedy. Now they come here before Justice Museneke. They come and spill crocodile tears. I don't buy that. They did it out of greed. They were happy when the checks were given unto them. They were happy. They never knew what would come after that. I want the law in this country to take its course to those people. I thank you, Councillor.
Siyabonga, Council. Advocate Klaus.
Thank you, Justice.
Sorry, Councillor. Because she knew what she did was wrong and was against the law of this land. I'm not talking about the law of another land. I'm talking about the law of this country. She knew what she was doing. She was warned by a number of doctors of the disadvantages that he was taking. Right now, he is being called by justice to come in here to testify. She's not to be found. They know where is Tatani Mahlangu. They know. They know because this country is a member of people. They can find him or they can find her anywhere in the world because they are members of an people. I saw the ETV news yesterday, 1600 hours bulletin. Katani Mahlangu left this country on the 29th of July for London. She must come back from London and testify. I saw that on TV, ETV, yesterday, 1600 hours bulletin, justice. She's in London. We want Katani Mahlangu to be repatriated from London to South Africa and testify before our Honorable Justice Museneke. I thank you.
Thank you, Justice. Sir, we just want to ask you, could you give us a figure what the funeral cost you?
Can go from 60,000 plus. That's what I spent for the whole procession.
Sir, and we just want to say that we're very sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you, Justice.
Councillor.
Thank you. Advocate.
Thank you, Justice. Sir, I just have one question for you.
Anytime.
In front of you, there's a document. It's marked ELAH9. Sorry, just there in front of you.
EHL?
ELAH9. Sorry. That one. This document, we've been provided with this document. It's a report on the transfers and deaths at CCRC.
What page?
Page 22. The first name there on the top, is that
22 or
22,
25?
22 of 25, yes.
Yes.
The first name there, is that your son?
Correct, sir.
Okay. Now we see there, on the 25th of January 2016, he was transferred back to CCRC.
20?
17. On the 25th of January 2017, he was transferred back to CCRC. And on the 6th of February 2017, we recorded the date of his death. And then there's a comment. Admitted at Anchor from Life Esidimeni, when CCRC took over mental health care users from Anchor, he died at Mamelodi as referred by CCRC.
I'm not told. It's the first time I heard about that.
Are you aware of this, sir? Is this correct? Incorrect?
I would be lying under oath if I am lying. I do not know about these 2 days.
See, sir, because we actually have a number of issues with this document, because we know from the Ombudsman's report as well that Anchor has already been closed on the 31st of October 2016.
Honorable Sir, I don't even know the name Anchor. It's not even my vocabulary.
Thank you very much, sir. No further questions.
But you see, Mhlekazi, your evidence is that you spent time with your son up to the 15th of January,
Yes, sir.
2017.
Yes, sir.
Umlande ephi as ekhaya.
CCRC, sir.
You took him at CCRC.
And returned him to CCRC, sir.
Did you know which section of CCRC was he?
Like
I
I've,
asked you earlier, asked you at which section of CCRC was he?
like you asked me earlier,
Yes.
I said we were only at the reception only. We were never taken to where they sleep.
So you were not able to find out whether or not he had been admitted at Anchor. Within,
No.
on the evidence, it was supposed to be a subset or geographically within the premises of CRC.
No, Honorable
Yes.
Justice.
So
No.
you were never informed that, in fact, the
I was never informed. Hence, I'm saying it's the first time I heard of this Anchor thing.
Yes.
Yes.
The allegation that he died at Mamelodi Hospital is
It's a new thing to me.
You never heard of that?
It's a new thing to me. It's a new thing to me.
Yes.
Let me come in, Justice.
Yes.
They saying he died at Mamelodi Hospital. Again, they saying he was so active, hyperactive, when he go to bed. The following day, he was gone. Was he at Anchor Hospital or was he at CCRC? He was at CCRC. He was never at Anchor Hospital. Like I'm saying, it's the first time I heard of this word, Anchor Hospital.
Where did you find his lifeless body? Was it at CCRC or
CCRC Justice.
and this little mortuary you talked about?
This little hot mortuary, Doctor.
The hot mortuary. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Justice Masaneke, perhaps I could assist on page 3767 of the record, which is file 11.
Yes, I'd like to see that because you know that it worried me. I couldn't bring these things together. Okay.
3767.
Where is it?
Christian Mondwane. Okay, I've got that. And that would be, yes.
So the death certificate records a place of death at Cullinan, and the date of death is recorded as 7 February 2017, not 6 February 2017, as it is in the table. And then, just to be doubly sure, if you turn to page 3772 of the record, 3772.
Can someone come and help me, please? Yes, Councillor.
On page 3772 is the notice of death. And in paragraph 4.2, it's very fine print. But at 4.1, it lists the place of death as Cullinan Rehab Center.
Correct. There's nothing like anger. There's nothing like anger. There's nothing like anger.
Thank you. That throws a lot of doubt on the information we have before us then about times and places of death, particularly in this matter. Council, I'm back with you. Any further questions?
No further questions. Thank you, Justice.
None anymore. African Kuchat.
Just one question. Can you recall the person who informed you of where your son died?
I could not recall the name of the lady who called me, but fortunately, my wife gave me the name. She said her name is Daphne. She's a social worker. I don't know if it's Daphne in Globo or Daphne who, but the name of the social worker is Daphne. It's all that I've got.
Other than that call, have you had any contact with her, either you or your wife or any other person from your house?
In conjunction
with this Daphne Love?
With what?
With this Daphne Love, did you speak to her subsequent to that call?
Yes. In the morning. Hence I saying it was 08:31 in the morning.
Okay. Where was that? At the
CCRC, sir.
At CCRC?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And she was the person who took you through the processes at CCRC or what?
Well, because I didn't know the name and I didn't know her. She is founded by my wife to say
But
her name is.
Is she the one who took you to the small mortuary?
Yes, and a sister with red epaulets, I think. She was wearing blue with red epaulets, but the social worker, normal clothing.
So she and her sister took you to the mortuary?
Yes. And also in the mortuary, it was not just cold. It was not just hot and small. It never had soap to wash hands. They complained, why this mortuary has no soap to wash hands? We want to wash our hands. There is no soap in this mortuary. There is a container of a liquid soap, but there is no soap in that container. I just kept quiet as if I didn't hear anything.
And who were complaining about the absence of soap? The social
Themselves.
worker and the sister?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that ties in with other evidence we have about how poorly resourced that facility was. There were a lot of complaints about its resources. But thank you very much, Council, for the statement. Are you done, sorry, Council?
Yes, I'm done, Justice.
Are you done? Yes.
Thank you.
Advocate Utam.
Thank you, Justice. There are no questions to the witness. If we may be allowed just to say a word to Mr. Ngondwane.
You better click your tongue, please.
Ngondwane.
You got it. It's correct. Ngondwane.
Thank you. We really regret the traumatic journey that you have experienced. The Minister of Health, together with the Premier of Gauteng, have set up this process in order to try and see if the truth of what actually happened will be uncovered. And it's through the collaboration of all parties, affected family members, and these government representatives, that through their effort and through the office of the arbitrator, that we might find some light with regard to what had actually occurred. We just want to thank you for having the courage to come through and give an account of what you went through. We acknowledge that it is not quite easy, it's very difficult, but we just want to ensure that the wrong things that have occurred are corrected and never to be repeated. We just want to thank you for making yourself available to participate in this process. It's not an easy process, but we just have to do what is necessary in the circumstances. We hope that we will assist in helping everyone affected by the process to find closure. Thank you so much.
You are allowed to comment. The statement made by counsel, and you are at liberty to respond in the way that you see fit. Again, you're not obliged to respond, but if you want to.
At this juncture, the House in general, I don't have a comment.
You have no comment, yeah. Sure. Yes. I think, Council, a fairer statement is...
Sorry, Justice.
Yes.
Sorry. Let me rather say, I thank the Lord for making this day. This is the day the Lord has made for us to come together. Ndiyambulela uThixo ngokungazenzisiyo okokubana abe wenza olu suku ukuba ibe lilulo apho sizohlanzela izimpo zethu kuwe njengenkokheli yethu. Ayonkokheli namhlanje waba inkokheli usesiswini sikanyoko. You became a leader. You're not just a leader today. The Bible says, I knew you before you were born. God knew that one day we shall have a man called Justice Moseneke, Dikgang Moseneke, who will be comforting people and who will be loved by people. You have loved people many years. I don't know you here only. I know you from many, many years with Patricia de Lille. Yes. I know. You are a public figure. You are a public figure. You being a servant from the moment you were born, you became a servant of the public. We thank you for that, Justice. May God bless you. Amen.
Enkosi Mhlekazi, enkosi. You make me blush now like a young person, but enkosi kakhulu. We at a point where we may release you, and let's hope that we will get to some resolution. Kakubuhlungu kodwa kuzode kulunge. Of course. Council, it's 4:30. What do you want to do?
Can I take an instruction as to whether our witness needs to provide her testimony today
Yes.
or not. And if not, we can decide how to take forward.
Okay. Do take instructions.
Justice Masaneke, the witness, Nono Moditse, is able to return tomorrow to provide her testimony. It is almost 4:30. I don't expect to be the witness to complete her testimony within half an hour.
Very well, Councillor. I'm minded that we adjourn till tomorrow at 9:30, except due to some pressing matter which stands in the way of that. There's no reason why we don't adjourn now until 9:30. Now that I found a praise singer, I think I must go with all that sweet taste in my mouth and start afresh tomorrow. But again, thank you so much. We're going to adjourn till 9:30 tomorrow. Okay?